Example 6. A welder needs a piece of 1/2-inch pipe 16.5 inches long. She has a piece that is 28.25 inches long. How much must she cut off from the longer piece? And then, of course, our clue here is cut off means we're going to need to subtract. So we're going to take the total piece, 28.25, subtract the piece we need, 16.5, and they don't say anything about waste, so we're just going to assume there's none. I'm going to change these both to improper fractions. That's especially important for subtraction. 28 times 4 plus 1 is 113 over 4. 16 times 2 is 32 plus 1 is 33 over 2. I need matching denominators of 4, so the second fraction has to be multiplied. So it's 113 over 4 minus 66 over 4. When I subtract 113 minus 66, I get 47/4. So 4 goes into 47. Eleven times with 3 left over. So 11 3/4 inches. The welder must cut off 11 3/4 inches from the longer piece. Example number 7. What is the outside diameter of tubing whose inside diameter is 1 5/16 inches and whose wall thickness is 1 1/8 inches? So let's make sure you understand that because this is a round pipe or tubing, that no matter where you are, if you go all the way across, whether you go up and down or at a diagonal, as long as you go through the center of that tubing, it's going to be the same. That's characteristics of a circle. So what we know is this inner diameter, the distance across is called the diameter, is 1 5/16 inches, and that this wall thickness, both of these, are 1/8 of an inch. And there's 2 of those, right? Because there's a thickness of the tubing wall on both sides. So I need to add these together. I'll go ahead and change my 1 5/16 to an improper fraction. That's 1 times 16 plus 5, 21 over 16. And I'll change both of these to have a denominator of 16 by multiplying the top and bottom by 2. So that one will become 2/16, and the other one will be 2/16. And since I'm adding, I just bring down my common denominator of 16, and I add 21 plus 2 is 23, plus 2 more is 25/16. Now we want to write this as a mixed number, but it just makes more sense. What is the outer diameter? So that's the all the way across of this pipe. Well, 25/16, if you divide 16 into 25, goes 1 time 16. It's going to be 9 left, so 1 9/16 of an inch. The 2 tick marks or the abbreviation IN. So 1 9/16. The outside diameter of the tube is 1 9/16 inches. Example number 8. A piece of electrical pipe conduit has a diameter that's all the way across from edge to edge of 2.5 inches and a wall thickness of 3/16 inches. What is the inside diameter? So whereas in the last example, they gave us across the inside and the walls, and we had to add to get the total, this time they gave us the total, and they want us to find this inside diameter only. So we have to take our outer diameter, 2.5 inches, we have to subtract 3/16, and we have to subtract it again. So I'm going to change this 2.5 to 5 over 2 minus 3 over 16 and another minus 3 over 16. Okay, I need a common denominator of 16, so the first one has to be multiplied, top and bottom by 8. 40 over 16 minus 3 over 16, and then minus 3 over 16 is 40 minus 3 over 16, and that's going to be 34 sixteenths. 34 sixteenths, the numerator and denominator can both be divided by 2, so that's going to be 17 eighths. We'll change that over to a mixed number. 8 goes into 17 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Remainder 1, so we write our remainder as a 1/8. So the inside diameter of the electrical pipe conduit is 2 1/8 inches. Example number 9. 2 splice plates are cut from a piece of sheet metal that has an overall length of 17 5/8 inches. The plates are 9.5 inches and 6 15/16 inches long. How much material remains from the original piece if each saw cut removes 1/16 of an inch? So we have a piece of sheet metal, and we're to make 2 cuts such that this first piece is 9.5 from edge to edge. The second piece is 6 15/16 from edge to edge. And what we're trying to find out is what is the length of the sheet that's left. Now we have to remember that each of these cuts has cost us 1/16 of an inch. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add up the 2 sheets plus the 2 cuts. So 9 1/2 plus 1/16 plus 6 15/16 plus 1/16. And I'm going to change everything over to improper fractions. It just makes the addition easier. 2 times 9 is 18 plus 1, 19 over 2. Now I need to do the 6 15/16. So 6 times 16 is 96, plus 15 is 111 over 16, and then we have this other 1/16 to be added. Now we have common denominators except for the first one. I need them all to be a 16, so I need to multiply the first denominator times 8, so I have to do the first numerator times 8. So 19 times 8 gives me 152 over 16 plus 1 over 16 plus 111 over 16 plus the last 1/16. So that's 152 plus 1 plus 111 plus another 1 is 265 sixteenths. Now I'm going to change this final answer over to mixed numbers, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do my subtraction, because remember, what we've found now is just the total that we've cut off, or the total of what we've cut off, so from here to here, including those 2 cuts. And we've been asked instead to find what's left, so we're going to have to take the original length, 17 5/8, subtract from that the 265 over 16. So 17 times 8 is 136 plus 5 is 141 over 8 minus 265 over 16. I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator of the first fraction to get common denominator of 16. So 282 over 16 minus 265 over 16. 282 minus 265 is 17/16. Changing that back, 16 goes into 17. 1 times 16 with 1 left over. The width of my remaining plate is only 1 1/16 inches. Example 10. The large end of a tapered pen is 4 17 inches in diameter, while the small end is 4 5/9 inches in diameter. Calculate the difference to get the amount of taper. So just as a quick sketch of what we have here, we basically have a pen that's a little bit larger on one end than it is on the other end. So I'm going to have to subtract to find this difference. And they actually tell us the word difference. That's our word that means to do subtraction. So 4 17/18 minus 4 5/9 is 4 times 18 plus 17, 89/18, and then 4 times 9 plus 5 is 41/9. I need a common denominator of 18, so I have 89/18 minus 82/18. So my taper is 7/18 of an inch. 7/18. Example 11. A jointer is set to remove 5/64 inch from the width of an oak board. If the board was 5 1/8 inch, find its width after joining once. So the jointer is going to remove a certain amount just to make sure that you're going to have a completely square, flat side to your board. So we're going to take our board that started at 5 1/8 inches, and we're going to remove from that 5/64 inches. So I'm going to change this to 41/8 minus 5/64. I need a common denominator, so I'll multiply the first fraction top and bottom by 8. That gives me 41 times 8, 328/64. Minus 5/64. 328 minus 5 is 323/64. We're going to divide 64 into 323. It's going to give us our mixed number. And that's going to go 5 times. 5 times 64 is 320. That gives me a remainder of 3. So it's 5 3/64. So the width of the oak board after joining once is 5 3/64 of an inch. Now on your calculator, if you do 323 fraction key 64, it will also give you the 5 3/64. Example 12. The concrete slab for a patio requires 5 3/4 cubic yards of concrete. If the truck delivering the concrete has a capacity of 10 cubic yards and is full, how many cubic yards will remain in the concrete truck after delivery? So they fill up the truck and it has 10. They come to our patio and they take off 5 3/4. So that's 10 over 1 minus 23 over 4. Common denominator of 4. So top and bottom by 4. 40 over 4 minus 23 over 4 gives us 17 over 4 left. So that's 4 into 17 is 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Remainder 1 becomes a 1/4 fraction. So 4 1/4 cubic yards of concrete will remain on the truck after delivery.